Oh, just unmute myself. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Asterix stream with myself, Jeff, aka Godless Scummer, and Noodle. Yeah, you may notice we are a little. Now, technically, are we a little early or are we a little late? We're a little later than scheduled, but we're a little earlier than normal. So,
yeah.
Take your pick.
So better sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But yeah, my apologies. That's my fault. I turned my computer on and it decided to fire an update at me. So yeah, sorry about that. But we are good to go now. If I can get that fire out my face.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. So today's book is Asterix and the Class Act. Now, this is going to be a bit different than anything we've done before. This is very different.
Yeah.
We're not dealing with we're not doing one story today. We're doing 14 different stories.
I don't think there's quite that many, but yeah, fair point.
It's not far off of it anyway. It's about
like
12 or 14.
Isn't it?
Yeah. This is a collection of short stories today. And they vary from different sort of time periods. Some of them are from the 60s, some are from up in the 90s. There's some that are just almost parodies of Asterix in of themselves. And anyway, this is what you said to me earlier today on Twitter. You weren't sure if this was the perfect farce or the perfect satire.
Yeah, I think it's both.
It is a little of both.
Especially with the way it opens.
Yeah.
So it's because of the way it opens is a perfect satire of, I think, French politics contemporary.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a satire of itself in such a way you're not quite sure what it's doing. It's I thought normally Jeff opens his stream and he says to me, "So Noodle, what did you think?" And I was like, I'm going to have to provide 14 different answers or 12 different answers. I can't give you an overall, this is what I think, because it's like snapshots. It's almost like asking someone what they thought of a movie by showing them the blooper reel.
Yeah.
That's almost what it feels like. It feels like the blooper reel for Asterix and Obelisk.
Yeah, I mean, some of these are almost like newspaper cartoon strips. I mean, some of them actually were. A lot of them came from the French magazine Pilot, which is obviously where Asterix started from. So a lot of them were old pilot strips which were eventually published in English for this collection. Some are very, very easy little things. Some of it is just absolute pure parody of itself and of other there's one we'll get to where it is parodies of other comic books as well, other very famous comic strips.
Yeah, Noodle was not amused.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, it is a fun one insofar as I can say I'm not sat here preparing to go off on one, which is always a plus.
Thankfully, there was none of that at all. There was not even one. There wasn't even one pirate panel or anything where I'm like, oh,
I don't think there is. Is there?
I don't think there is at all in this book. Some of these are just fun little strips. They do play into French nationalism a bit. There's some that that you have to have a bit of context for because they were there's one we'll get to which is kind of was a satire for the time, which you need a little bit of context for.
They're almost like you said, they are. I'm going to sit down on a Sunday morning with the newspaper and the crossword, and there's a strip there. It's Garfield, or it's almost
Garfield, or
that, isn't it?
It's Fred Bassett or Peanuts or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
or Peanuts. Yeah.
Um,
So
and,
that's
and I'm going to give a little teaser away for later today. In this book, we are going to see Dogmatic speak.
yes, we are.
We're going to get the actual thoughts of Dogmatics.
I was so excited. Puppy thoughts.
Yeah. So, okay, you've shared it. So, should we jump into it? Because we've got quite a lot to get through in this one.
Yeah. So let's crack on. I do like this one of. I just like the picture. It's 14 stories here. So yeah, you were right. 14.
Yeah.
And we've got this initial French publisher's note, which I just thought was so much fun.
Yes, that's hilarious, and it gets a little bit into the backstory, and it says, okay, I'll try and read some of this off, but it is sort of saying that during the 60s, when Goscinny and Uderzo had time to espouse some writing writing and drawing the Asterix adventures, which was not very often. They produced little masterpieces in the forms of complete short stories. The French magazine Pilot, enjoyed by a whole generation of children, in which Asterix stories first appeared, published most of, but not all of them. Others appeared in such places as American newspapers, a women's magazine, and as part of a bid for the Olympic Games to be held in Paris, which is important for one of these stories. It seems a good idea to collect all these short stories in a special Asterix album. So, which is kind of
and then just the beautiful facetious comment here of, in fact, here at Les Editions El Berliner, we were receiving such terrible threats that we absolutely had to do it. If we didn't publish them, said the readers, they would make us eat roast ball for breakfast.
Yeah. So we gave it into the outrageous demands of certain blackmailers whose identity we shall
have to reveal one of these
days. Yeah, sorry, it's all. I'm having trouble reading the script with this a little, but none of these stories. Yeah, so it says none of these stories have been published before, although several were included in a 1993 collection. See page 47 for full story. Seeing as publishers absorbed in the difficult but fascinating task of collecting all the stories and imposing on the original picture quality for Asterix and the Class Act, Albert set to work again, and in the spring of 2003, he produced the cover design and the words and drawings for a brand new 5-page story about a cockerel with amusing powers. The rooster who wakes up the ghouls every morning since his children's day to get up to go to school for their own class act. Hence, people saw the thumbnail. I actually decided to go with the rooster for the thumbnail.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. The rooster's very important to this.
Okay, so yeah, should we get into the first story then? The introduction to this book, because this is brilliant.
Yeah, so this first story is absolutely, I love this. I want to talk about the way he enters this room and the way he's drawn in this particular image.
Yes.
And let me see if I can get a photograph up to share with our let's see.
You're sharing the screen at the moment, so we'd have to.
What are we comparing it to?
I would say this is somewhat based on De Gaulle.
It is, yeah. I'm just looking for the right picture of De Gaulle to compare it to.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. This one, I think. Which I think is just absolutely. Please excuse the random where I've got it from.
This is, yeah.
This is our village. I'll call him the village chief, but I did almost say village idiot there, which take what you will from that.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is immediately, I think this is deliberately done because he had a bit of a reputation for his press conferences, didn't he?
Yes.
Our own Charles de Gaulle. Bit of a reputation for it.
So in a way, this is I mean, this is just like a page, this thing. This is just a page to introduce the album, essentially. And it says, dear readers, I'm delighted to see so many of you here. I know some of you want to put a few questions to me. Chief vital statistics, so fire away. So we're getting this, will your next adventure be abroad or at home? Will you play an important part of it yourself? Yes, thank you. You know,
will it be as
yeah, go on then.
Will it be as funny and exciting as the other stories? And will the Romans get a good thumping? And is that all? And these gestures, this is very,
yeah.
It's pointed. They're not messing around.
It's very much a de Gaulle. I mean, de Gaulle kind of came off to a lot of people. De Gaulle kind of came across as a bit haughty, you know, and
he did. I mean, fair cop, but he kind of. I think he came off to the French people the way the average French person comes off to a British person.
Yeah,
in like levels of haughtiness.
The stereotype of a French person.
The stereotype,
we'll say that, not the average.
The stereotype, not the average French person.
There is I think, to be honest, I almost feel that our stereotype of the French is somewhat based on de Gaulle. I think
it is. Yeah, it is. It's massively influenced by it.
I mean, de Gaulle came across as a bit haughty, a bit arrogant.
It's just it's fun to take the mickey, but the guy, he didn't do it. Well, let's not get into the history of the guy because we'll be here a long time.
Yeah, we got a lot to get through.
Yeah.
So he said, right, you want to know where the story will take place and if I shall play a leading part and if the Romans will get a good thumping. This is a collection of several stories taking place in and around our beloved village. As your leader, of course, I shall play a statistically vital part. First, there we go, first pun. And yes, the Romans will certainly get a good thumping. Did I hear someone ask when will our adventures begin? As soon as you take the trouble to turn this page. Thank you for your kind attention. And then walks off.
Yeah. Now, the sheer meta, like fourth wall, what fourth wall?
Yeah.
This is it's quite timely that we did Deadpool on Media Musings last week, and then
we're doing Deadpool 2 later. Yeah.
It's just it's nice after so long in these books. It's kind of nice to actually be spoken to by the characters. It's very timely and
we've had the little winks before, the little fourth wall breaking winks to us before, the readers, but this is like he's straight out. Okay, you're in on the joke here. Let's go. You know, we're all in.
You're in. Let's go. We're all in on it.
So we get our first story. This is from 1966 originally. Yeah. And this is the one the book's named after, Asterix and the Class Act.
Yeah.
So rather than reading through all of these, because we will be here all day, if we read through all of these little write-ups before them, should we jump straight into the stories?
Yeah. All you need to know is this one was released because of the start of the new school year, and look at the puppy. Look at the sketch of the puppy.
We got a pup. Look at the pupper.
So yeah, Asterix and the class act. So and this is early enough to have been Goscinny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, this has got some of these are Goscinny. And it very much says here Goscinny does the text and.
Yeah.
So starts off with said, put that menu down. Today's the Obelix. Today's the day. What already? No.
Oh no.
Yeah, we have to put your menu down. We have to, basically every day we have to do this every year. He's sort of saying here, and it's something Obelix is not looking forward to doing.
Quite clearly. And Asterix, there's someone in the bushes.
Yeah.
And they're rounding up the kids, and I do think this is the same little girl, I think, from that, who's clearly picked up bits and pieces from the mother and decided that she doesn't like when men grab hold of her, which fair,
brutal misogynist, male chauvinist bore. Such language. Where do they pick it up?
Yeah.
Obelix, he sees he's got a couple of everything. Okay, Obelix, you bet we're a real class act.
One more trip and that'll be all of them.
Yeah.
So
one of them's hiding up the tree.
Yeah.
And Obelix decides, okay, I'm gonna push the tree over much to Dogmatix's
annoyance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have Gedifix. Children, I'm ashamed of you. Every new school year, you have to be rounded up like wild boar piglets. You must go to school because if you're to be good ghouls.
I just did this thing from the kid here, where the youth culture.
Yeah.
And then they're all totted up because I just so much going on in these two panels. I love it.
Oh, yeah. So why don't Asterix and Obelix get to go to school, oh druid? They did at your age. They worked hard and in this this classroom challenge.
Yeah. And every parent's worst nightmare being called on by the teacher ad hoc.
Yeah.
So
Obelix,
the Battle of Dragovia.
Okay. The battle we won. The battle we won. And you get a little Latin thing there. What's the number? I don't know Latin. MDX.
Yeah, MDXV.
It's 15. I know on the end, obviously.
Yeah, it's 15 on the end. So I don't know what the MD is.
Yeah.
Roman numerals.
Anyway.
MD. 1515. 1515.
Okay, 1515.
Yeah.
Would it be and Obelix? So Obelix is repeating the answer he's hearing from the kids. No, it would not be. The battle to go. Come on, I want an answer. And then we have the final panel of this. Obelix has to go back to school. Asterix is laughing. Dogmatix are laughing their ass off.
Just dying laughing. This is brilliant, is this?
And that's the story. That there is the story. Now that's normally would be normally like the prelude to an entire album, but that's the entire story. It's just a short little. It's just what you get with this. It's just short little. Some of them 2 or 3 pages long. Some of them not even that.
Yeah. I just this one, they're obviously sort of seasonal and they're being done to be released into magazines and things like that. So it's nice because it's. I just love this one. I think it's absolutely hilarious. It's a classic, kids running around trying to avoid school, all on one page.
Sorry, I had to with Ring's comment.
Damn it, Ring. But yeah, basically, and this concept of the youth culture comes back a bit later on in some of the other ones, doesn't it?
Well, right, we get right into the next one. We're dealing with certainly we've how are the youth much different from their parents? Now this is a good time to do this in a way, was this one, because we got introduced last week to a couple of the characters in this next little strip.
Yeah. So this one is the tale of the birth of Asterix.
Yeah, now this one's from the 90s.
Yeah.
So this is I mean we got last week we established in the album that actually Asterix and Obelix were born on the same day.
Mm.
And we said this. I love this in this very first guy in the year 35 BC, and there's the Asterix before Caesar.
Before Caesar.
That
is just fantastic because otherwise that would make no sense whatsoever.
Otherwise, that would make Asterix that would make Asterix like really. It'd be a bit screwed up, really. The timeline here.
It would, because their stories are 45 BC.
50 BCE normally. Yeah. So so it's a good little joke in that panel there.
It's a great little comment of quite clearly someone's looked at it and gone, I'm going to have a dig at the facts, that the continuities. And it's quite funny because this entire thing is based off a bit of a continuity error or a retcon. Because as we know, there was a previous book where it was Obelix's birthday and not Asterix's.
Yeah.
And then last week they were both born on the same day. So again, I think it's a bit of a nod to that, but the timelines make no sense. These timelines are crazy. So it's definitely it's having a bit of a dig at itself here, isn't it? And its own retconning.
So it's all like we're getting the same sort of. Gaul was entirely occupied. It was ever enjoying a period of peace and prosperity, and we got the one little village, which would make which she said would which would make news later after the Roman conquest. So
I do love this little comment here of with enjoying a period of peace and prosperity and does not hold out against living the life of Riley. And it's spelled Rilix. Ancient Gaul known for his love of luxury. Is this an idiom that translates across different languages?
I have no
life
idea.
Of Riley?
I have no idea whatsoever.
So I think this is quite a British idiom. That's an easy and pleasant life. It's probably derived from a real person.
I'll be honest with you. I did not even hear that saying until that bloody awful Lightning Seeds record in the 90s.
I have to say,
and I never I never thought I would actually have to mention the Lightning Seeds on a stream of mine, and I don't think we'll make it a habit.
Yeah, no, but the idea of the whole concept of the life of Riley was an Irishman who basically living it up, living the high life. I think there's a story somewhere about a Sir Riley. Who was a spy in the Second World War? Who lived it up a bit.
Sidney Riley, I think was.
Riley.
I think that's the First World War.
First World War. There's some argument that the idiom comes from him.
I do remember Rob Newman, the comedian, doing a something about him because he did a lot of history stuff, and it's a Sidney Riley is described as the most famous spy of World War One. He says, I've got to point out something. If you are the most famous spy, you are the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the stories actually go back previous to that, but the idiom's kind of attached itself to him as well.
Mm. So
I'm looking
yeah.
here. There's one. Willie Riley of Sligo Island is probably the best contender for the original Riley.
Mm. I think we should go with Rylix though.
Yeah, let's go with Riley. Basically, he's just a guy living it up. Imagine Bond on his day off.
Yeah.
That's the kind of life that Life of Riley insinuates. So yeah.
So we got the kids. Now we might recognise some of these characters, these children. Coming out to play vital statistics. All right, but remember, I'm the chief. So why do you always get the play of the chief? So he's got the list there, but because my dad is the chief of the village, he's the boss. That's why.
Yeah. That kind of, again, this one is quite clearly having a stab at its own continuity here.
Yeah. But it's all it gets into it. My dad or my dad could do that. That one-upsmanship.
Yeah, my dad's bigger than your dad.
My dad said your dad ought to be master of his own
master of his own house before bothering about the village.
Yeah,
so,
what was that? So this is a very young. This looks like a very young, fully automatics here.
It does a little bit, doesn't it?
He's right. No, he's wrong. You dare say that again? I'm about to lose my temper with you. Watch out.
Yeah, and this is very. It seems like it runs in the family to be a henpecked husband.
Yeah,
is the comment that's been passed there, which is quite fun.
And then you got all the kids there. Put that chicken down, foul pest. Geriatrics now. He's old even here.
He's old even here. Yeah.
Aren't you ashamed of yourselves fighting like little barbarians? Follow your parents' example. See how they respect the peace of our law-abiding village. So we get to the next thing, and vital statistics is home. Little vital statistics. I thought I told you not to fight your little friends, and the chief's son should set an example by two tartars. Well, the fact is, it was fully automatic's fault. He's semi-automatic's son. He says his dad ought to be master ought to be master.
You should master your life before bossing the village about. And where do you think you're going? For a little walk, won't be long.
For a little walk, won't be long. He's a lot smaller than he's actually a lot smaller than his son would grow to, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I hear you ought to be, I ought to be master in my own house. Is that right? Could be. So what? Bang.
So this.
And we got Unhealthix, the fishmonger. Well done. You scored a hit. Bang. And back. Bang.
And fish and mist.
Yeah. And before you know it, here we see the very first in a long series of fish fights from the Gaulish village.
So this is the origin of fully automatics and
unhygienics.
Yeah.
Revelry. Yeah, and then meanwhile, there you go. Remember these characters from last week? Off you go, Astronomix. This is no place for you. You'll leave it all to us.
Yeah.
So, and he goes off to the quarry. Obelisk Codex.
Yeah. I have to assume that these are the patronymics of something. Yeah. I will say I don't know about in the language they would have been speaking. I know the Romans generally called daughters by the father's name plus a number. So Julia would be the daughter of Julius, and if he had 3 daughters, you'd have Julia Prima, Julia Secunda, Julia, and so on. that was a thing that happened. So if you're a woman in ancient Rome, don't expect to have your own name, at least until quite late. And they did the same with the sons. You would be Claudius, son of Julius.
Yeah.
And your name was almost genealogy. And
Mm.
this is why you see on all, if you ever see a Roman engraving or a Roman like memorial stone or anything, the names are so long because your genealogy is built into your name.
That's
That's
sort of
the
something
point. You should tell where someone's from.
I mean, it's I don't know much about Gallic languages, especially ancient Gallic languages. Is it possible there was something along those lines? Yes, because it happens in so many different cultures.
Yeah.
You've had
and I mean,
names.
we're talking about before the development of what we would call a surname.
Yeah.
You know, like,
well,
if someone's name is John
the,
Smith, he
yeah.
could be anyone now, but there was a time when you would know exactly which Smith he was, and it would mean something to do with his father or his grandfather was probably a blacksmith.
If you think about like some of the Scottish or Irish names that have got the word muck or mac in front of it, which meant, you know, like MacDonald was son of Donald sort of thing, and but then the name just eventually just became a surname or a clan name, you know.
Yeah, it just became widespread. Equally, the Russians have patronymics that they still use, where the son's middle name.
I'll just say, Ring, the ghoul puns will be getting worse.
They're going to get a lot worse, trust me, Ring. But yeah, in Russian, and I think there's something about Arabic, although I think it's slightly different. I know for definite in Russian, a man's middle name or a man will go by a diminutive of his father's name.
So it'd be like, so his father's Ivan, it'd be Ivanov, or
Ivanov.
or
Lenin went by Ilyich.
Yeah.
And
if it was a female, it'd be like Ivanova, you know.
Yeah, Ivanova.
Had to get that in. One of my favourite Babylon 5 characters, Ivanova.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, even when I was learning Russian, I kind of one of the first things they teach you is how to introduce yourself. And so what's your father's name?
Hops is saying in Icelandic they don't have surnames, just patronymic. So
yeah. So again, it's kind of a thing for your surname, and you would literally just be called in. I think more traditionally in Russian, I don't know if they still do it.
Okay.
You would just be called by that patronymic by most people who knew you.
We go in here now. If we go on here, it says that they're being sent. The two of them now is galling it's galling for a ghoul to be so helpless like this. I warned you, Ring. Yeah, it's like, and they're getting a little He's getting a little hungry, and then we go into this. They all get into the village brawl here. Stop this! This is no day for vulgar brawls. And let's congratulate the happy fathers of these newborn ghouls instead. I have a son. Me too.
Oh.
And they hold him up. His name is Asterix, and he will be as big and as strong as his dad. And this one is Obelix, and he will be as shrewd and cunning as his father. They kind of got the wrong way round.
I think they got the wrong way round, switched at birth.
But at the same time, it's a sign that they'll be best friends forever.
Yeah.
And
I do love how the babies are actually identifiable the way they're drawn.
Yeah. So a few days after the babies, you know, they have there's a big feast to celebrate here. And you got the kids, and I like this. When in the cacophonic set in the tree, when I grow up, I shall sing odes in their praise. And you got fully automatic. Oh yeah, we'll see about that.
And then this one's fatter than the other. He's not fat; he's just well covered. Funny, he seems to like the smell of rose bar already.
Yeah.
So I find this utterly adorable. It's cute, it's fun, it's a nice little origin story.
Yeah, I mean, this is we actually have got an origin story here. So there we go.
Hmm.
Um, now, so that's like two of the stories we've gone through right now.
I want to make a comment about this final note here.
Yeah.
There'll be 35 years later, the adventures of Asterix and faithful companion Obelix begin. Later still, they'll be told by two other firm friends, hoping only to provide a little fun for readers both large and small. And I just think that is so sweet, especially, and it kind of, the fact that Uderzo carried it on after Goscinny passed away.
Yeah, and
Never took
edited
Goscinny's name off the credits.
no, he never did. I
I
mean,
think
they
it says a
genuinely.
lot.
I think they
Yeah,
genuinely were very, very good friends.
yeah. There's obviously real respect and affection there.
Yeah.
So
So,
it's,
should
yeah.
we go to our next little story?
I'm just
We've
having
got
a
one.
quick look in the chat. Yeah, everyone's saying Icelandic, Finnish.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of European, Slavic, Germanic languages do the patronym thing. It's a very common thing. So yeah, in 50 BC, in 1977, this one was written.
Yeah. So this would be. I can't remember. This wouldn't be long before Goscinny dies. I don't. I think it was around 77 he died, but I can't quite remember the exact date of this. So there are two. So now it always works weird here that there's. I think these panels are here twice, aren't there? Like for some reason in this. I think I think what you got to remember here. I think you got to scroll down at one because
yeah. So what they
panel's
did, they
part of
gave a bit of a teaser, if you like.
Yeah, to show something that's going to be on the page a bit further down.
Then,
So we got there that in 50 BC, the Roman army had occupied the entire world. Their general Julius Caesar, the height of his power, and was still dreaming the new conquests. And I love that. You're quite sure there's nothing over there.
That's fantastic. I love it. It's just brilliant. Like the guy couldn't keep Britain under. Yeah, I just can you imagine if the Romans had made it to the Americas? Oh gosh, the whole of human history would have been different. That would have been hilarious.
So they're going on about either he's gone from triumph to triumph,
quite literally.
Quite literally. The captives from the defeated nations following his chariot in chains, and it's like, good. And do you think they'll give us the afternoon off to go shopping? We'll get to visit the circus. Nice town, I say what. Bit too Latin for my tastes, and
will we get to visit the circus?
Yeah.
To fist is not bad, but I would like one. Would not like. But to life in one would.
You see the prices there, and I love the fact you see the hieroglyphs there. You've got like dollar signs, pound signs,
and the pound
there.
note. Yeah. I just
points.
A typical Brit there though, isn't it? Everywhere we go, the first thing we comment on is the price of a pint.
Yeah.
I don't know about anyone else, but when I go anywhere, the first thing I comment on the price of a pint and the price of petrol or diesel wherever I am.
Yeah, you see the thing. It's like it was like, and even if it's cheaper in Britain, if it's more expensive than somewhere else when I went to Peru, okay, in Cuzco, like there's one place we were going to get beer, and it was like four sols for a beer or whatever, and I can't remember what it is. It's like about 6 or 7 sols to a pound or something like that. Maybe more than that. I can't quite remember, but it was like it's really fucking cheap, right? You know,
like 70 pence for a beer. Yeah,
it was, it works out maybe about £1.30 or something for a beer, and then we went to a place where it was like 12 sols for a beer, and it was like bloody hell, well that's expensive. I thought, and eventually realised it's still a little cheaper than you get in the UK on average.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, though. I think it's a very
But we
British thing.
still moan about the fact that 12 soul syrup, because, you know.
Oh no, I did it. It broke my own heart. I went to Rome a few years back. First thing I did on arrival, literally on the coach going from the airport to the main terminal station to get to my hotel, I literally saw a petrol station and took a picture through the window of the price of petrol and emailed it to my dad.
Yeah.
Like, look at the price of petrol here. This is madness. Just a very British thing to do. And the other one, the first time I walked into a pub the following day, and well, not a pub, it was like a little restaurant, and I looked at it, and a beer was like €3, which I think it was about 80 pence on the euro at the time.
Yeah,
So it was
I mean,
about the same price as Britain, but it was for a bottle, whereas I expect to pay a pint for that where I live.
Whereas
And I was just like,
whereas
this is
nowadays
expensive.
it's euro and a pounds. There's not much difference between them.
Yeah,
I think
not much
it might.
difference.
It's
No.
about maybe it's about 90p to the. I haven't checked the exchange rate for a while, but
no, I mean, I was the price of beer was quite, for me, I considered it quite high coming from the north. I lived off coffee in Rome because a coffee in Rome was 80 pence because it was €1. There was a little shop right by my hotel, and this is what I mean by very British, that I'm saying this automatically. Little like it looked almost like a takeaway outside my hotel, and you could go in there every morning, and for €1 you got a coffee, an espresso or a cappuccino, and a pastry, basically. Something like a what are the French pastries called? A croissant.
Croissant.
Yeah. For €1, which was 80 pence. But the pro tip to anyone going to Rome: do not sit down to drink your coffee. Do not sit down. If you sit down in anywhere in Rome to drink your coffee, the price of the coffee trebles because you pay a seating charge.
You should try Venice. You should try Venice, Noodle, if you think Rome's bad. Okay, we get back. Okay, so we got the. Says now, it says here now, among those defeated nations was Gaul. I love these next two panels. Today, the French live in Gaul, and it's called France. No shit. How are you, sir? Mustn't grumble while it keeps on. The ancestors of the French were known as Gauls. Now, I love this. You got the artist there sitting in the street drawing painting the Eiffel Tower, and then you go to this next panel. You got an artist with blank canvas. He's like, "What?
What am I drawing? The countryside?"
Yeah. How are you, sir? Mustn't grumble while the skull doesn't fall on our heads.
I definitely think this conversation's been translated for English, though, because that "mustn't grumble while it keeps fine" is a very English way of saying it, isn't it?
So there were two kinds of Gauls: those who accepted the rule of the Roman invader, and imitated their conquerors in language and behavior. As Quivar, so, and the lovers of liberty who still held out against the invaders and who have graffitied all over the Buster Caesar there.
The Buster Caesar there. I do like this. The things. Where are you going, sir? The die is cast. And this one drawing what's possibly the Arch of Tiberius.
Yeah.
So right outside the if you want to see the Arch of Tiberius in real life, it's right outside the Colosseum. You can't miss it.
Yeah.
It's the giant arch.
And I know I know that technically in the time of Caesar, the Arch of Tiberius wouldn't be there, but I don't think so anyway.
In the chat talking about Vatican City is the worst for ripoffs. Yes, but it's also the cheapest place in Rome to buy a stamp, so use the Vatican post office if you want to send a postcard. Yes. I sent a postcard from the Vatican post office and it literally arrived in England within 48 hours. I was surprised. I got the email with a picture of the postcard. But don't buy food and drink within walking distance of the Vatican.
No. It's just
it's madness.
You need to go further afield. You're going to get a coffee or something in Rome, or
Yeah,
I mean, to
honestly,
be
if you're
honestly,
in,
I don't think, because we only went to Rome for a day, and like, I don't think we just went and saw the sights, and then we got out of the city before we went and had a cup of tea anywhere.
yeah, I was. My hotel was based just round the corner from the Termini station,
Mm,
and there's a lot of little like cafes and roadside places you can drop into there. But
yeah,
honestly, if you're anywhere near a tourist attraction and you want a drink or something to eat, go hunt down and find the nearest McDonald's. That's the
It-
cheap. If you're anywhere near a
yeah.
tourist attraction,
Unfortunately, it's like it's the one time you've really got to like bite the bullet and eat fucking McDonald's.
yeah. If actually by the Trevi Fountain,
Mm,
there is an ice cream place on the corner. Don't get me wrong, the ice cream's nice, but they must
mm,
make a killing off the tourists for what they're charging.
yeah.
But if you go down the little road leading the other way, there's a McDonald's down there where you can get, your coffee and your burger.
I mean,
Just,
I think that's the.
yeah.
See, I thought some of the worst things I ever did whilst I was in Peru actually was go and eat in McDonald's, and it
Eating
was mainly
McDonald's,
it was
yeah.
to be fair. Now, normally I'm the really bad picky eater who doesn't like to eat anywhere. And a lot of things I don't know, I'm terrible. But one of my friends, I won't say his name on stream, but one of my friends was way worse than me. I was not having problem because I could find in most of the places I could find something I'd eat.
Yeah.
It wasn't. He was terrible though, so it was like, God damn it. So we went, we got a goddamn McDonald's, and it was like, oh,
Yeah,
why?
no, I've got to say though, in Rome, either your options pretty much, if you don't speak Italian, are McDonald's or you're going to be ripped off in a tourist spot. There's
Yeah,
no in between.
yeah,
Now, is it worth being ripped off in a tourist spot? Yeah, if you can put up with the weight of flirting with you.
yeah,
But if you go into anywhere in Rome, and again, tourist tips, you're going to get a lot of tourist tips from me. You go anywhere in Rome and there's pictures of the food on the menu, it's a tourist trap. You're in the wrong place.
yeah.
Generally, that's a good rule of thumb. Locals don't need pictures of food they've been eating their entire lives to tell them what it is.
Mm.
Although I did find a nice
Now,
place on the not the Piazza Navana.
it's the Nirvana. That was the amphitheater. That was the circus with Domitian, wasn't it? Originally, that piazza.
I think
Is
so.
that the
The
one you're
Piazza
thinking of?
Navana is the one with the massive Bernini fountain in the middle.
Yeah,
And
I think if you look at the outline, that I think that it's still that square has still got the outline of the Circus of Domitian.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, there's a
It's
little place on
give
there.
me a little okay.
Italian food, well, vaguely Italian food, and there was a place, Piazza Barberini. That was the one. Piazza Barberini.
Yeah,
There's a nice little place on the corner of there, just as you come out of the train station. That wasn't too bad, but again, it's all geared towards tourists. So you come into the Piazza. I'm sure it's Piazza Barberini. You come into it, and then you go down the Via di Trattorna, which is the road that's got all the massive like all the really posh, expensive shops, your Armani and your cigar tobacconists and things, all down
yeah,
one side of the road. So don't expect to find, a cheap coffee and a sandwich anywhere around there. And it's just around the corner of Trevi Fountain. So
I think I've got a model of it somewhere. Let's have a look. I'm just trying to find it.
which one you're trying to find?
Okay, right. Okay, so I'm going to share a couple of images. Just a second. Right, let me get that briefly from this, and we'll. Okay, now this first picture. Can is that up on the screen? Okay, is the circus. That's the rough model, the outline of the Circus of Domitian. Okay, now if we come out of that a second, and you go to the image next to it.
Yeah, that's the Piazza
you can see that the outline of that this is the outline of a Roman amphitheater.
Yeah.
With the Bernini statues, obviously there.
Yeah.
So obviously the build, but this is it's still very much kept the outline, and I think it's very conscious of its past as an amphitheater, because it's almost like the markings almost make it look like a chariot ring, don't they?
Yeah, I will say as well, strike me down for daring to mention the blasphemy, but that fountain in the middle of the Piazza Navona is the one made famous because Tom Hanks rescued a
fucking
guy.
angel, that fucking awful.
Yeah, the
Noodle,
Angels and Demons.
Yeah, Noodle. I'm gonna confess, I read that book and it was fucking. If you think the movie's bad.
Oh no, I've read the book. Believe me, I know.
Yeah, you think the movie? You think the movie of Angels and Demons is bad? The book is fucking.
It's even worse. Yeah,
it's
I will
okay.
say.
I think we've taken a bit of a detour. We might need to get back to this.
Just with that though, the movie, if you just watch it and don't pay attention to the plot, it's a really nice advert for Rome as a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
So, it's got its uses.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've got the Gaulish village holding out, and the Romans kept a close watch on our cheerful Gauls who liked a good laugh.
One of the village warriors is Asterix, the most intelligent and best at unmasking Roman spies, which is pretty damn obvious. You look at this Roman pretending to be a tree. And
I told you oak trees don't smell of garlic, George.
Yeah. Obelix, many a deliveryman by trade, is Asterix's best friends. Historians have not yet actually found out what Menhirs were for.
I mean, technically, they're not wrong.
As for the use of Obelix, often uses them. The Romans as well know as historians are at cross purposes.
This is not what I'd call light banter.
And look! I've talked dogmatics and new trick.
This is adorable.
Yeah, well, he's just bouts once in the menhir on his nose. This may seem strange, but remember that dog biscuits had not been. So he gives him a cuddle and a kiss. So this may seem strange, but remember, dog biscuits had not been invented in 50 BC.
Yeah.
So in a way, we're getting a little trip through the villagers here.
Yeah,
one of the we got the dog. Well, like the others villagers, Dogmatics gets his amazing strength from the potion brewed by Druid Getafix. This magic potion has an amazing effect on the ghouls. Do you know Dogmatics hates it with people who pull up trees? So only give it a tiny tap.
Yeah.
And there's a Roman trapped under there.
Yeah. The bard Cacophonix is another prominent villager.
Yep. So is Fully Automatics, the blacksmith, who is also probably the ancestor of all music critics.
Yeah. And the village chief is the majestic Vital Statistics.
Oh, there's no discipline in this village anymore. No respect. You are all to bow to me and my authority.
Oh, this is just...
Yeah. You said it yourself. They drop him off the shield.
Yeah. I wanted the others to bow, you fools, not you.
And there's certainly nothing the Romans can do about the superhuman strength. So really, this is almost a short one, which is just in a sense introducing the characters, if for anyone who hasn't seen them yet.
Yeah. It's quite. I like this comment from the soldier at the end. By Jupiter, to think there's 18 years to go before I'm demobbed.
Yeah.
So this soldier is, because they served until, was it 35?
Something like that. Right.
So he's like 17. He's a young soldier.
Yeah. I'm just gonna get to bow out for 2 seconds to get some more coffee, Noodle. Okay, and I need to stretch my legs badly.
Yeah, no worries.
So if you want to keep it going,
so yeah, we've had our introduction to the Gaulish villagers. I'm gonna wait for Jeff before we start on the next one. Obviously, I do like how we're seeing on this one. We saw the development of the tropes. Now, this is only a 3-page spread.
Noodle, start on the next one because I might be a few minutes. Start on.
Yeah, but it had all the classic tropes. So that was sweet, and I'm going to like this. I can't get over how cute this one was. But anyway, moving on to Chantillyrics. This 5-page story published in May 2003 about the village cockerel, who well, seems a bit full of himself. So let's see. So we start off very very, it's right there. It's often thought animals have their own language and understand each other, and here we see proof, which begins in the skies over America, just above a little village that we all know well. And this village that we all know well is very much that's a trope again. So by this time we are well established. Obviously, this is the last one. This is the story that he wrote, I think, for this collection. It said at the beginning. So this is there. So Gauls provided His Imperial Majesty with a fine appetizer, and the chickens are running away. That's the nasty bird who carries off baby chicks to eat them. That's what it is. And the black chick is going cheap. And I do this image here is just, this is classic. It's a very, very fun image to just look at. It's one of those, I took a calculated risk, but boy am I bad at maths. And this one, you kind of need a bit of context for this, because the eagle is the symbol of Rome and the rooster is the symbol of France or of the Gauls. So this is what's going on here. This is not just a couple of birds having an argument. This is there's hints of nationalism to it, but it's telling the story in a very cartoonish way of what's been going on. So we've got, the French essentially standing up to the big one, who thinks he's entitled to lay claim. And this comment called boil an egg in your imperial head too, which again, that you've got the argument here, and in comes Vital Statistics' wife, who sends the Roman bird off packing. So quite clearly, this is a nice little World War. Sorry, I'm just reading the comment there. World War II regime also used the eagle. Yes, they did ring. A lot of countries have in history, but this one is specifically about the Romans and sending them off. This is kind of telling you the story of the last 32 books of the Romans swooping, try and lay claim to what's not theirs, and then out comes someone from the village and bunks them on the head. So nice and fun there. And sending them off while she steps in defense of France. And now we have the challenge thrown down, who's the better emblem. And he's saying, you're not going to do that, but I can't be chicken. The honour of all the poultry yards of Gaul are at stake. So the chicken now running off looking for help, and Dogmatics has got his own little house, which we've never seen before, but this is very cute. And speaks to Dogmatics, and we get to see Dogmatics speaking. And
I'm back. Sorry, I needed
yeah,
to get take painkillers as well. So we're a
yeah,
few
no worries.
pages down, are we?
We're a few pages down. Dogmatics has just answered his front door.
Okay.
I
Cool.
have explained the emblems and the Roman French
Okay.
thing.
Did you do you do the Latin behind it?
I didn't do the Latin behind it, but I just said, the roosters, France, and the.
Yeah. Do you know what the Latin for cockerel is?
Go on.
Gallus. Gallus.
Oh, okay, right. That makes sense.
You know what the Latin for ghoul is? Same
Yeah,
word.
it's the same
This
word.
is
It's the
now we don't know for 100% if this is where the emblem kind of came from. I do not know. I believe Suetonius may have made a reference to it. Although of course we still but this is because obviously the cockerel is like the French emblems. Do you ever see like a French sports team? You see the French football team or the French rugby team. Their emblem on their shirt is a cockerel, and generally at a rugby game, someone always manages to sneak a cockerel into a France game.
Yeah,
It was
just
somehow
tradition, isn't it?
It's a tradition that a cockerel ends up on the field. So we're at the point where they just knocked on Dogmatics' door here.
Yeah, I will say as well, because there's a discussion going on in the chat about other empires that have used the eagle symbolism over the years.
Yeah, well, a lot of them.
A lot of different empires have. There's a lot
of them borrowed it from Rome, though.
Yeah, a lot of them borrowed it from Rome, altered it slightly. There's some that use two-headed eagles, one-headed eagles looking to the left, eagles looking to the right, black eagles, white eagles.
Obviously, the Third Reich, we know what they used it. But even America uses the eagle. But okay, they used the American bald eagle. America uses the eagle.
Yeah, and again, it's anytime you see that eagle symbolism in a country's national, it's because it's calling back to Rome. That's what that is. I mean, if the Polish, there's a Polish white eagle.
Yeah.
I think the Germans have got. Is it the Germans or the Austrians who've got the black eagle? So all sort of countries in that area, they have, and you'll see on different families' emblems and things as well, that they incorporate this imagery.
And you got the worst kind of eagles of all, the Philadelphia Eagles. Sorry, I had to put that in there.
Yeah, I did, didn't you? But
what can I say? I'm a fucking Cowboys fan. Sue me,
Yeah, maybe actually.
Okay. Okay, so we're at the bit where he's just knocked on, and we're getting to see Dogmatics speak for the first time.
You get to see Dogmatics speak, which is very nice.
What do you want, Heather? So the roosters, the cockerels accepted the challenge from the Imperial Eagle. They're about to fight a duel at dawn tomorrow. As I see, that bird will make chicken nuggets out of him.
Yeah.
As you can help, I have an idea. And you get the whole like whisper, mumble. What? Okay, that won't be easy, but
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Night has fallen.
Yeah.
And some Scorehouse still holds out against the invasion of sleep, so staying up late.
Yeah.
Because he's stressed. And next morning at dawn.
Yeah. Asterix and Obelix going out for find some boar for breakfast. Well, that's odd. Dogmatics isn't coming with us.
He'll be back when he finds out.
Yeah. So Dogmatics is very much goes swimming into the house, comes out with the gourd of magic potion that belongs to Asterix.
Yeah.
So where's Chanticleerix? He's follow me. He's behind the henhouse doing press. So he's working out here.
Yeah, this whole story to me is just a microcosm of this little village standing up to Rome.
Dogmatics has bought you a secret weapon, so the magic potion. Yeah. You sure potion goes well with chicken? It's a risk you have to take.
It's a risk you've got to take. So yeah, no skiving off. The villagers need their alarm call. So cockadoodle do you?
Yeah.
And he's drinking the potion now.
And here we go. Seems to work very well on him. And
are we going to comment on the? It seems to be. Let's say Dogmatics has something in his mouth, and let's say that's not so deliberate. But yeah, he's handsome and he's flying. Yeah, that's normal when you're on the potion. Bye now.
Yeah. I still don't see that ghoulish champion. He's chickened out. And the next thing, up we go. Bang. And we see an eagle, a featherless eagle, been instantly plucked, coming down to earth.
Yeah, with a bit of a back. Yeah, and
we'll ignore we'll ignore the swear symbols there.
Yeah, we'll ignore them. But again, Ring did comment in the chat earlier. I think it was Ring who said, a certain regime did use the eagle. So again, it could be another microcosm for that, and the French resistance as well. This story is applicable to a lot of those if you want to.
So he's doing a big cock-a-doodle-doo sort of speech there here.
And is very.
And all of the hens in the village. Meanwhile, you got Dogmatics says, "Oh, there you are, you little rascal! What were you doing while we were out giving just giving the village cockerel a helping paw?"
And then good for you. What did you say, Obelix?
So it's like Obelix can understand him.
Yeah,
almost.
Obelix can understand him, but
oh, nothing. Dogmatics just told me he'd been giving the giving the village cockerel a helping paw. Woof, woof, woof. Sometimes I wonder if Obelix acts as stupid or just to annoy me at the end.
So I just this one I love because again it's the thing is the French have got quite a proud history of. There's a lot of countries in and around Europe that have got quite a proud history of standing up and saying no, and of resisting much larger empires or much better equipped opposition. So this could be a lot of different stories.
Actually, so what says it? That's why Ben Franklin didn't want the bald eagle to be America's emblem, even though it's a different kind of eagle for the road. Yeah.
So and Hops telling me there the Germans have the black
Germans who had the black eagle.
So again, this eagle emblem.
Hi, Sammy. Just see Sammy's in the chat as well.
Very common, and the whole point is it's the little guy against the big empire. It's the underdog stories. This one, and I like it. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Now I gotta say, our next story coming up, I love this. This is so much fun. Ghoul Lang Syne.
Yeah,
this is all about the tradition of kissing under the mistletoe, and Obelix having a little plan that backfires here.
Yes.
This is so funny.
This is fun. And so the ancient Gauls had some charming New Year customs. When they met under the mistletoe, they kissed. In fact, it was compulsory.
Yeah.
So
and then
these pleasing encounters were sheer coincidence. But some unscrupulous Gauls let coincidence a helping hand.
Yeah, so Obelix is there. There's the mistletoe. Good. Here comes Panacea. Off we go. Now, I gotta say, this is Nick's 1960. This, I'm pretty sure. This, oh, actually, no. The Panacea would have been introduced in the albums by now, probably. Actually, thinking about it, but so we remember this is the where are you off to, Panacea? Oh, just getting some. So he gets out there under the mistletoe. Panacea gets distracted. I'm just taking our druid to get some dry firewood. You got this other woman comes. I'll take it for you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Scarlatina. Yeah.
Yeah, Scarlatina. Slightly older woman, but little. Yeah. So gets a kiss, and it's like Caesar's given orders were to respect local customs and of occupied countries, so I'm just respecting them. So he's got a Roman legionary, comes up there
and gives Obelix a kiss.
Gedivix. You shouldn't have thumped that poor Roman. A custom is a custom.
And little old lady
comes back again, gives him another kiss. I've brought you some dry wood, druid. Yeah, thank you, Obelix.
Yeah.
And as Asterix comes up, yes, here I am. That's right, here I am. Now you see me. And now you don't know this is too much. I'm kissing off now by two tartars.
And
what's the matter, Rox?
Confused.
Now, little Dogmatix is under the mistletoe. And look who comes up. Panacea picks him up, gives him a kiss. And I love this little paddle there who get the kiss, and a little wink in Dogmatix is
wink. Yeah,
that is so cute.
Yeah, that is absolutely adorable.
So there you go, short little, like that's a little I mean that's very much a little newspaper strip kind of comic, that one. It's so very short, like about a page and a half long, maybe, if that. And I just think very just simple humor.
Yeah, nice,
very simple, good, simple humor.
Yeah, this is at its best.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Esther.
Hiya. I just want to address something Autobot asked there about Gauls wearing winged helmets. They're more than just Hellenic. You've got yes, you had ancient depictions of Hermes, Mercury, and Roma, and I think there's some depictions of, is it Nike? But it was actually used by the Celts by sort of the 19th century. So it's also used in depictions of Norse heroes and gods. So it essentially just became a cliche of someone from the relative north within the story. There is some historical.
Autobot asked a question: did they actually?
Celts
I got to answer this. I have no idea. The mistletoe kissing thing. I have no idea. Now, I've got to be. I'm going to be careful what I say here because we could go into a whole We could go into a whole different thread of something that tends to get me in trouble with other members of the atheist community because I don't happen to agree with them, because we get a lot of things about Christmas traditions that are nicked from paganism. We get those things every year, and people need to be a little bit careful about what they make claims on with this. I mean, now, like I have a tremendous amount of respect for Seth Andrews, the Thinking the Atheist podcast. He did a podcast which a lot of people, all the pagan traditions of Christmas that saying the Christians stole. He got a lot of shit wrong on that. He did get some stuff wrong on this, as best I can tell. Now, I had Tim O'Neill, who's an amateur historian, on my channel about a month ago, and he addressed some of this stuff. Now, again, Tim's a bit of a controversial figure, but as best I could tell from all the references and that he provided me, he seemed to be right on this. And but so I'm going to be a little careful. I don't know is the answer to Autobot's question.
I mean, there are examples during Saturnalia in ancient Rome.
Yeah,
there was a lot of screwing around, a lot of fun and games and hijinks. Traditionally, there's a few days during Saturnalia where essentially in the culture of masters and slaves, roles would be reversed.
Yeah, I think we definitely have to do some. I mean, I think there's definitely things that were certain traditions that survived from pagan times. I think that'd be foolish not to say, but we also got to remember what we can actually document is a bit different. Like the Christmas tree one, for example, we can't really document any of that past like the 15th century or something. So we've got to be a little careful on the claims we make. Is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, so, I do think for me, from what I know of it, I think it actually originated from a story of Balder.
Balder, yeah, that's a Norse myth. That Balder,
yeah.
But mistletoe was the one thing that could hurt Balder.
Yeah,
and it's the thing that killed. It's eventually. I won't go too much into the legend, but it's Loki plays a trick on the blind god Hoder because Loki is jealous of Balder, but if the thing ends up killing Balder, and this is if you know anything about Norse mythology as well, that it was prophesied that if anything happened to Balder, that would trigger Ragnarok, which was the thing that the Azir gods feared, and that is what happened. But that's I'm not doing that myth justice. I know I'm not, but
no, the tradition we can trace it back in the UK to about the early 1700s. There is a telling of that myth you're talking about where Balder's mother declared that mistletoe was a symbol of love and therefore would kiss anyone who passed under it. So you can kind of see where that may have come from, but that's not very well attested, and I wouldn't claim that to be accurate.
We've got to be careful what we know of the Norse myths as well, like the Eddas that were written in a Christian era.
Yeah.
So we've got to remember that.
And I mean, there are books about written by sort of apothecaries and physicians in the early 1700s that don't mention this superstition at all when talking about mistletoe.
And as Hop says, to Loki's defense, there's evidence of versions of the myth without Loki, which seems to be a later add-on. Which, it's very difficult with like Norse myths as well because we don't really know what the original stories are.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we get into our next little story here?
Yeah. Cool.
This is
so Mini Maxi. Nice little take on a Veni Vidi Vici, or Wiki even.
I just had a thought there, Noodle. It's all right, but we'll talk about that off stream.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off stream. I know exactly what's just popped into your head there. So let's have a look. So it's often been claimed the ancient Gauls were barbarians, but nothing could be further from the truth. They understood civilized refinement, and their lovely lady friends didn't bother with all that loudmouth Weni Weedy Wiki stuff. They were more interested in the question of Mini, Midi, or Maxi. Now, for anyone who's not aware, has never had to go with someone to buy a dress, these are kinds of dresses or skirt lengths. So this girlish lady, or this one.
Oh no, let's take this one. So you got Impedimenta, and then they yank her off stage and put Geriatrix's wife in there, and she's modelling. Notice the elegance of her figure, and and Impedimenta, I'm a celebrity. Get me back in there, and I mean, I'm the chief's wife.
Yeah,
She's
Um,
Impedimenta's definitely got a. I mean, these are two do have a bit of a ego thing going on here.
yeah, they do. Yeah, definitely. Gaulish woman wore a tunic.
Yeah. Look,
So
Impedimenta, would
sometimes
you
with the
mind
second one,
leaving us alone? Can't you see we're busy? What was that?
yeah.
Um,
So sometimes with a second tunic worn over it,
yeah,
in an elegant matching colour. I love how Geriatrix calls his wife Popsy.
yeah,
I'm just going to leave that there. Popsy here is a proper little madam, that's what.
yeah. And Jerry, are you going to let her say those things? Well, no. Listen, Impedimenta, vital statistics. You know, that old wreck insulted me. Who are you calling an old wreck? So we know where this is leading now.
Yeah, we know where this is going.
The Gaulish woman often wears drapery in the Roman style, thus adding to an aristocratic touch to her outfit. What, you know, this little madam took my place. What's all this shouting? Get down if you're a man. Let us also admire her. Has been fossil.
Dilapidated old codger. So yeah,
do
this
you think
is.
she? I love this. Tell me honestly, Bacteria. Do you think she's prettier than me? Yes.
Yes.
Unhygienics. They're all getting called in here now. What business is yours, you great goof? And
the jewellery made of metal, bone, or glass. Elegant Gaulish ladies love necklaces, bracelets, and brooches.
Yeah.
Which are masterpieces of beauty and distinction.
Come on, Obelix. There's a punch up going on. There we go. I'm the chief around here. I can call anyone. I like a great groove.
Yeah, but who sucks to you?
So all this makes the Gaulish lady a dainty, adorable creature, symbolising the refinement of those, of those whom historians have unthinkingly described as barbarians.
It just the irony drips from these pages. I love it. It's fantastic.
Now, the next one is going to be interesting. The next one's going to be really cool because
really cool.
Yeah. Because we're going to get to see Asterix and Obelix as we have never seen them before.
Yeah. So what we have here is people write in, as they do, fan letters, write in and make suggestions. So they've adapted in line with some of the suggestions. Now this is just, it's quite clearly meant affectionately in good humour, but the fans don't come out very well from
this. When's the date of this one again?
This one is based in 1969.
This is which is really weird here because one of the first panels here. Now I'm sure this might be a redo. One of the first panels in this looks very much like way more modern kind of. It's almost got a Todd McFarlane feel to this first picture.
Yeah. But this is why don't you have the druid inventing modern gadgets? The characters don't talk like natural, and even worse, the drawings just for kids, like Mickey Mouse stuff signed at a pal. So this is, I think it's done deliberately, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's the way it's drawn and everything else.
Well, a lot of guns and stuff. It's got a slight hint of Todd McFarlane to it, even though this is pre-Todd McFarlane. But
yeah,
what we're seeing here is that we're getting some different interpretations of Asterix and Obelix, and you're getting there's some real nods to other comics at the time.
Yeah, definitely. I do like this one as well because they were saying like you get this in the conversation of like, I don't know what they're for. You seen like Monte Carlo? No, I've seen sort of Monte Cristo.
Yeah,
I've seen the money like Asti uses like the phony war to make phone calls.
Yeah,
which I just we'll call it affectionate ribbing, shall we?
Yeah, yeah. So that's the first sort of interpretation. I like I said, this almost. I mean, I don't know if this actually was drawn in '69. This image, because it looks like a parody of much later comics. It looks like some of the ones from the '80s and '90s. Like I said, my immediate thought of that was Todd McFarlane, as an example, but and some of the artists of that era, or even some of like the Eastman and Laird's early Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle strips reminds me a lot of the art and that.
Yeah, it's got that sort of teenage TMNT
Yeah.
vibe to it. It's the purples and the line art, isn't it? That does it.
Yeah. Suggestion 2. Okay.
Stories too long, stop. Too much dialogue, stop. Not enough simplicity, stop.
Yeah.
Why not take Asterix to America, stop. Signed Professor Heddy, University of Nantes.
Right. No. Yeah.
Now, what we should explain is this was quite clearly a telegram.
Right. Could I also explain? You're right. You want to go down and actually show the art here. What is this comic strip parodying? What do you think?
I'm just having the art
style.
Yeah. Very much so, yeah. Especially I think this one here. Spot that a mile away, and the noses as well, the way the noses are drawn.
This is Peanuts, isn't it?
Yeah, this is our Peanuts.
This is a parody on Peanuts here.
Yeah.
Which, if anyone's seen, especially the early Peanut strips, very simple, very simple. And it's all there's almost a little hint of it's almost like a little like version of Asterix and the Great Crossing in a very tiny little strip here.
It is, yeah.
Druid's magic boat stop off to discover virgin territory for the Rick's stop. So very simplistic virgin territory stop. They say go across the water. Property of Rick's. Arrows. Actually, I'm going to say probably slightly better portrayal of a Native American than the one in Asterix and the Great Crossing, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's just tiny little. Keep it simple.
Yeah, that's what they asked for. That's what they got. Just to address the chat again. When I said that Christmas, there's stuff from Saturnalia, that's one aspect of it. Christmas is drawn from about 6 different traditions from Christmas. You can find them all over the shop.
Now I've got to say, I love the next one of these as well. I love the next one of these.
I love this one. This one's so much fun.
What is this parodying? Any ideas? It's very
It is quite obvious what it's parodying.
This is very obvious. Who wants to have a go at I'll put it full screen a second. Anyone want to go in the chat here? What is this a parody of? Looking at the art, some real classic comics here. We'll see if
and see what everyone thinks.
I'll see. Hops has got it. Hops is the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
And ring straight afterwards.
Yeah.
Flash. Ah! I'm not going to do any further with that, but
I'm not going any further than that because I can't.
This is a brilliant parody of like classic Flash Gordon comics.
So
and Tusker said in the chat, Asterix.
Yeah. So this one's saying review. This is actually a review in the journal. The Comic Information Exchange.
The latest Asterix book was not too bad. It was not too bad. Unattractive and muddled as the drawing was. On the other hand, we were delighted to reread the wonderful collection of adventures of the high-flying Crash Gordon in the amazing deep world of space. Yeah.
So he's decided he's going to have a go at this now.
Yeah.
Druids, Magic, and Flora, our heroes arrive on Mars by way of Jupiter, Juno, and Mercury.
Yeah.
um,
By Tartus, Mars is our last chance to find the very essence of life, Obelix.
mm-hmm.
And I love the way they're drawn here.
Is just hilarious. Yeah. Asterix and Obelix with the letters and the
yeah.
Maj and Soil.
That's an Asterix. Look there, we're saved. Lots and lots of Romans. It's the alien Romans there. Although they're now we can even try and read through this next one.
I'm not even going to try. Basically, someone called through, and someone sent a message and just tried to be. They clearly wrote the letter with a thesaurus to hand.
Yes. Okay. I will read the suggestion. I am a sycophant aiming to promote syntheology, necromantic symbolicism, ego rebels against the work of. Actually, I'm not going to. Sod this.
You just can't with a straight face, can you?
You can't. So it's every long word in the book. This is almost as if Sir Humphrey had written a letter in.
I think,
and he's basically making a suggestion that, like, you got to stop dumbing the books down a little bit, kind of thing. And you just see the whole thing that you got the whole page is just full of really long dialogue.
It's Sir Humphrey, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's definitely Sir Humphrey speech going on here.
Yeah.
And Asterix gets all philosophical, and it's fun to read, but we're not going to read that out because, wow, my brain. This made my brain Windows shutdown noise.
Yeah, this was like, but I again, these are all just so funny.
Yeah,
the artwork's not really changed. The last bubble's just like question marks. It's like question. Yeah.
Suggestion 5: we'd like to see it a bit more trendy, psychedelic. And why don't women feature more in your stories? You're not anti-feminist, are you?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, we kind of know what Derizo is. To be honest, with
yeah, but
this I'm going to say this is before,
and they got it.
Yeah, it's a psychedelic thing. Yeah, this is this looks like Yellow Submarine very much, doesn't it? Or
yeah, this is. I think you've got to be stoned to be able to make out what's on in this one.
Stones, you need to be on mushrooms for this.
Yeah, well, it's the Druid's magic flowers.
Yeah.
And the Roman women, and not as much fun as a good punch up when they're running away.
Yeah. And if you're, they're basically chasing after them, and they're like,
and that's the end of that one.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I'm glad, because wow, even just these 4 panels gave me a headache looking at them. There's so much color and just.
And you get a big, again, a big long thing from the authors here. So, so all of the. And the way the text gets bigger throughout this. I mean, we didn't. We're free agents, aren't we? Very well. That's how you feel like in future. Asterix and Obelix will
wear +4s.
Yeah. And I love this. Honestly, I mean, I ask you, these authors are crazy.
Yeah. The Asterix and Obelix and plus, I just.
Okay. Well, the next one is from 1986. Now, you do need a little bit of context for this. It's called the Leticia Olympics. Now, those who don't remember, Paris was launching a bid to host the 1992 Summer Olympics. Obviously, in the end, it went to Barcelona. That they got the Olympics that year. But Paris was like one of the main sort of contenders. I don't know if I don't know if like France has bidded on a Summer Olympics since or not. I don't know. I mean, I know they've hoped
bid the same year the UK got it, didn't they?
They may have done, yeah. And I know France obviously did get the World Cup, did manage to get the Football World Cup, which is possibly even a bigger deal than the Olympics now. Even though I think I could get into a whole political thing about the Olympics and the World Cups, because it's like, why the fuck any country actually bids on them really when they don't actually? It's FIFA that gets all the fucking money for it.
And the thing is, as well, the World Cup and the Olympics cost more to put on than the countries tend to make back.
Yeah. They do.
I think it was only, I think the first country to ever make a profit off the Olympics was it Los Angeles in
1984?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the Americans, obviously. If anyone's going to figure out how to make a profit, it's the Americans. And ever since then, it's kind of been people want it because they see a money-making opportunity.
Yeah.
And a propaganda.
But, why anyone? I mean, it's more. I think it is a prestige thing in a way, more than a money thing. Because I mean, especially with the Football World Cup, because FIFA seems to be the one that makes all the money off that. And again, I won't go too much into this because I could really, really go off on a rant about how fucking corrupt FIFA is.
Yeah. I mean, we were.
I mean, and I think John Oliver said it best. He said, "It's amazing that it took the Americans, the country in the world that could care less about football, to actually get something fucking happen about FIFA, because the FBI got involved, didn't they, with some of the shit that was going on in FIFA, with like some of the corruption scandals."
Yeah. I mean, obviously, last year the Olympics were put back for various reasons.
Yeah, that's right. We were supposed to have a Summer Games in 2020, weren't we?
Yeah, Tokyo.
Tokyo was supposed to have it.
And I think that's got to be the first time since this Second World War the Olympics is not.
Yeah, because the first, I mean, and the thing is, I've noticed, you look a lot of the time that countries, if they can, will look to get a World Cup and an Olympics within a couple of years of each other, and it's certainly happened like West Germany, because they got the Summer Games in '72, then they got the Olympics in. No, actually, it was the Summer Games in '72. Then they got the World Cup in '74. Brazil got the World Cup in 2014. Then the Olympics, and you remember London got the games in 2012, but was after the 2018 World Cup.
Yeah.
England was after but England's like I said, England didn't have a fucking chance to get in the World Cup, because I mean, right, let's be honest, Russia bribed more people.
Yeah. So the because this one round they postponed it to this year, so it's as far as we know, it's going to go ahead this year.
As far as I know, I don't
in Tokyo, although there's obviously going to be a lot of safety precautions in place, so it's not going to look like the Olympics we're used to.
Well, we don't know. I don't know 100% if it's going or not, because I know where is it, the because like the British Lions tour, we don't know if that's going ahead this year. That's supposed to go ahead. Okay, let's get back to this story.
Yeah, but current projection is it's going to go ahead in July, and it's going to be in Tokyo. Fingers crossed for that.
So peace temporary reigns between the Gauls and Asterix little village, and so there's a message express carrier. Let us, so they've got the carrier pigeon here.
Yeah, let us bend our minds to the speech, you fools. I will say this whole thing about peace during the Olympics, the ancient Olympics, it was definitely a thing.
Mm.
But I'm sure we'll get into that. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure the Spartans enforced the peace as well. They were in charge of it. But
well, are you arguing with them?
Generally, most people aren't going to.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So let's see. Gets this letter. So 100 years ago, as a Gaulish athlete won at the Olympic Games in Greece. It was the first time a non-Greek athlete had ever been crowned with the laurel wreath. To commemorate the Olympic Committee has decided to hold its next games outside of Greece. And I love the idea that you've got an Olympic Committee back in ancient time. You probably might have had an equivalent, but anyway, several great cities have been put in their bids to host the games. There's one of them. So obviously, we're putting a bid in to hold it in Latakia, the Gaulish capital. We must therefore persuade the delegates of the Olympic Committee who are coming to visit us.
I do have,
and of course, Rome's made a bid.
The nice name drop there of the athlete. That's not the name of an athlete, Pierre de Coubertin. That's the name of the founder of the modern Olympic Games.
Yeah.
It's a nice little thing there.
Yes.
Champion of sporting education, historian, actually.
Yeah.
He's known as the father of the.
I don't know.
Games.
Yeah, I don't know much about him, honestly.
I don't know much, but I recognise the name. And his whole thing was basically just getting sports into schools. It's his fault you had to do PE. So yeah.
No, I don't think it. I don't think it is. It is French.
No, I'm joking.
Tintin's Belgian, which should have been around the same time. So Rome's also put in the bids as well.
Which,
So, the chief's telling them, hey, you're one of us. We are your most courageous warriors. True, Asterix, but your courageous friends to stop laughing, and so the honor of the village is at stake here. So we're gonna get. So they're gonna go off to. They're setting off to Latakia, so they're gonna do their bit to try and see that Latakia gets the Olympics.
And we have Caesar now. And there is kind of a. There is a bit of a. This is not wrong when he's talking about head of the Secret Service. There is traditionally a little bit of international corporate espionage over Olympic bits. I wouldn't call it pure espionage, but there is a little bit of back office dealings and this is what they're going to do, this is what they're doing. It's just rotten to the core, basically.
It's corrupt as hell. It's corrupt as hell. Like, hence what I was saying about FIFA earlier. FIFA,
the Olympic Committee, and the Eurovision. I don't think anyone says it's corrupt as all hell.
I think maybe I'd have to read up on the history of it, because it could be a good little one for my Patreon things. I've done one on like historic sporting things, but there's quite a big story about the American Olympic Committee people and the American representatives like Avery Carrington, who was trying to dissuade black athletes from doing their protest in 1968. But this guy Carrington was also highly instrumental in getting Berlin the 1936 games.
So yeah.
Because I think I could probably do a stream on the '68 protests, but I'd have to read up on my history of it.
Yeah, I'd have to read up on it because I'm a bit shaky because it's been a while. But yeah, if the guy's fighting for Berlin to have the Olympics in 36 and then doesn't want black athletes making a protest in 60, you know why.
It's the disgusting way that he tried to use Jesse Owens as a pawn in that to stop those athletes as well. Okay.
Yeah, but obviously,
so our friends are off to Leticia, and then obviously, so we said there, Caesar is demanding, hey, Rome will be the Olympic. Rome must be recognised as the Olympic capital.
Yeah.
And so the Gauls, so Asterix and Obelix arrive in Leticia. Come with me. Welcome the Olympic Committee by Hurry Eyes. What's that?
This is just, I love this character. My name is Civil Cervix, and I'm permanent secretary to party politics. Who asked you to excuse him? He's busy debating various problems with other tribal chieftains. This is
Sir Humphrey.
This is Sir Humphrey. You almost, I'm the principal private secretary to the private principal secretary of the of the
I'm
principal.
The permanent secretary.
The permanent secretary.
And he said, who's the secretary to the So that's a lot to type. Who does the typing? Oh, that'd be Mrs. Brown. She's the secretary.
Yeah, she's the secretary. Was it Mrs.
Anyone
Brown?
who's seen? Yeah. I can't remember. I can't remember the exact, but it's like it's a yes minister.
It's good. It's very.
They come to see it's the cutting edge of technology. You'll be kind enough to follow me. I'll show you around the city of great art and literature. Dogmatics is sniffing something out, so that they like keep your eyes open. And you got the tower in the background here, built of wood,
going up,
which is the carrier pigeon tower, which is obviously, now the little quick thing about the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower was built, originally it was supposed to be a temporary thing. And it was built in 1899 for the Exposition Universelle, which is basically, it was like a equivalent of it was like the World's Fair, that sort of thing. And it was it'd be also to celebrate the centennial of the French Revolution as well. But it was originally supposed to be a temporary thing.
I mean, a lot of things, because there was something that happened in London as well, wasn't there? They built something temporary and then just leave it there.
Crystal Palace.
The Crystal Palace.
Well, they actually did rebuild the Crystal Palace. I can't remember where did they rebuild it, because it was originally in Hyde Park. I can't remember where they moved it to, somewhere in South London, and then it burned down. It ended up burning down, but it was the Crystal Palace
in Hyde Park, and then
it was somewhere in South London because the football teams from that area is named Crystal Palace.
Yeah, it's Sydenham Hill, now in the borough of Bromley.
Yeah.
Where it survived until 1936. Thank you, Britannica. So yeah, again, I mean the images of it are absolutely, gorgeous. You can see why they wanted to keep it. I wouldn't want to put something like that up and just tear it down either.
Yeah, it was. But unfortunately, it did burn to the ground in the 1930s. So the closest thing to it in London today is probably Alexandra Palace, but it's on a much smaller scale.
A lot smaller.
Very. So Leticia is famous for its warmth and welcome, its fine hotels. You get the tower.
Yeah.
And here, Letician Arenas is set close to the heart of the city to hold the maximum number of spectators. All the Olympic sports can be staged here.
Yeah.
And they've got the Romans have a cunning plan to kidnap the president of the Olympic Committee. Leticia will be disgraced and, will denied any chance of hosting the games.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to get. So they come straight in here, grab the president of this, and they're going after them. And of course, straight away they don't realise they're drop running into Asterix and Obelix, who soon beat them. I hope we didn't alarm you. That was just a little exercise to demonstrate the efficiency of our security service.
Yeah. Protecting the Greeks from the Romans.
That was fantastic. Letitia shall be the next Olympic capital. The efficiency of your security service has won the games. Oh, it's only a routine exercise, you know.
What would it have been like if it was for real?
Yeah. Later in Caesar's palace, says you will take part in the games in the circus playing with the lions.
Yeah. And after the success of Letitia's games, Tutatis tells me that the Parisi of the future will be staging another one in their beautiful city too, with a wink.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
they weren't. No, Barcelona got them.
Yeah, Barcelona got it that year. That would have been for 92. So yeah, actually, security is always a big issue with the Olympics.
Yeah,
it's the biggest thing in the world. You get all the major heads of states show up for visits and things.
And well, we've had at least 2 terrorist attacks at Summer Olympics that I can name, because obviously everyone knows what happened in 1972 to the Israeli team with Black September and everything. Yeah. But there was a bomb that went off in Atlanta as well in 96.
Yeah.
So
and it's one of those where it's always an issue, because the Olympics are the modern, we all know the Olympics represent peace and worldwide unity, and there's this sort of it's a very idealized idea that nothing stops the Olympics, the world comes together no matter what.
Yeah.
That you'll stop a war for the Olympics, because there's this story of in ancient times they set down arms and everyone had there was a free passage to get to the Olympics if you were traveling.
Okay. I just realized
it does have that.
I just realized we've got about 35 minutes, and I think we've got another 3 or 4 stories to get through here.
So we do need to.
I'm trying to finish on time for Ring.
Yeah, so we do have Springtime in Gaul.
Yeah.
In 1966 coming up.
Yeah.
So
spring's coming. No wild boars. No Romans. Up for a fight. I'm fed up.
Yeah.
So
a
little man in a bad way.
Judging by his size, it's a long time since he was fed.
Yeah.
Let's take him to get a fix. Our druid will be able to cure him. Handy if we could call a mobile druid.
Yeah.
So the little man is he is Spring.
Yeah.
So there we are. He's come to see who's the most seasoned fighter.
Yeah.
So this is a traditional. There's various stories about how the seasons change. And this is a little bit, it's pulling from, it's got all the tropes of, the eternal war between winter and spring going on, which is what they're sort of having a look at here, I think.
Yeah.
So, winter wants to send a flu epidemic and a magic potion to help spring there.
Yeah.
And flying like a swallow, off he goes.
I mean, yeah, this is almost like a little it's almost like a sort of personification of like spring triumphing over winter, this thing, really.
Yeah, it's what this is about. So yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? It's the eternal battle, essentially. Spring has sprung and put winter to flight for many months and gets down to work, growing and building trees and
yeah.
you know, Obelix is happy. You know.
Yeah. I mean,
But he
I've got
has
to say, it was all right. This one, not my favourite little story in here. I've got to say, this
no,
one.
but it's got a bit of the sort of it's a very
Yeah,
traditional story of the fight of spring and winter. You know,
yeah,
you find it in various mythologies. That it's kind of tradition. If you've got um, a group of people or a mythos growing, at some point they'll come up with a story to explain the seasons.
mm,
And the concept of the two personifications of these seasons, or the two deities that represent it, battling it out every spring
mm,
and every winter, is very common.
mm.
It's,
Cool.
you know, so that's what's going on there.
So our next little story,
The mascot.
the mascots. This is a little dogmatic story.
Yeah.
This one. And Obelix is kind of complaining. He says, "Look, Dogmatic's is a great little dog, but you don't trust him. It gives him I love this. It gives him an inferiority complex. Asterix, origin of the modern complex."
Yeah. So never
And then
mind that. It's here.
and now we've got a little Roman patrol out there. So look, at 2 ghouls, not the 2 ghouls. Yep.
Yeah, and they did this little comment from the Roman there, which, if anyone knows your poetry, it's Wilfred Owen First World War or Second World War? First World War.
Wilfred Owen second for World War One.
World War One. Yeah, Dulce Decorum est pro patria Marie
Yeah.
is the famous poem. The Wilfred is it Wilfred Owen or Siegfried Sassoon?
Either way, that's a World War One poem, but
it's a World War One poem about the gas in the trenches, but the Latin, the whole point is that you know, the great lie. It is a great and glorious
and I
thing
just
to
love the fact that we've done that. We just go to the next panel and it says, "On a fine day, we will not in the forest. Will not dwell on a few seconds of violence preceding the scene below." So they don't show them getting beaten up.
Yeah, they don't show it, but they you know, again,
Yeah.
the classical quotations just all over this.
I love the fact that the fact that it's they kind of they kind of come to the conclusion here that and I love the fact he says, if you're quite through with the classical quotations, but I think the Roman soldiers here decide they're down on their luck.
Yeah.
So they feel like we need because we don't have a good luck mascot. You know, that's the thing they said, of course, we need a mascot. Our mates back home on the capital of the sacred geese, those turned up, you know, all good eggs.
Yeah. He's got a right to speak Latin grammar.
Yeah.
Just watching him passing though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
there's a lot of fun Latin puns in here for any Latinists who enjoy it.
yeah.
I quite enjoyed this one. I'm sure to
So,
find a little animal somewhere in the forest. And so they're playing fetch with the Mineas.
okay. By the way, but yes, it was originally it was created in France and published in Pilot. Some of these old stories were reading now were originally in Pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, playing
Meanwhile,
fetch with the Manea hits.
yeah, fetch Dogmatics, Roman on the head, and then this little dog. He's woken up here. This little dog here. I think we found our mascot. Picks him up and like our troubles over. Dogmatics is growling like hell here.
Yeah.
Surprised Dogmatics didn't bite him straight away.
Yeah.
Look, boys, our lucky mascot. Who I saw him in inspiration struck.
Yeah, before or after you saw him, was it?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they've realised Dogmatic something's gone, and you know,
Yeah.
Manea too big for him. You just
don't
don't trust him. Of course, he's not very self-confident yet.
Never mind arguing. Let's look for him. Dogmatics. He's looking around. Look at that. Roman legionary's helmet. But Dogmatics and Amenia were both. So don't you see, Legionary has kidnapped him? You know, oh, now you've made Obelix mad.
You've made Obelix mad now, and you're in trouble.
He's trying to get him to calm down. Says, I don't want to calm down. I want dogmatics. So a bit of so the next thing, what should we call our mastics? Something to remind us as home. Is a nice bonus for him anyway. So they are trying to give him a bone.
So they're trying to look out for him. But then the centurion arrives and decides he was going to train this dog.
Doesn't look very obedient, yeah.
Yeah. You won't try biting me again, recognize your master, he says, which is, you know. And then Obelix and Asterix appear with this soldier.
We'll let these two ghouls into our camps to do. Let us into the cat, and we want dogmatics.
So now we've got a prisoner swap, essentially.
Let the sentry go. It's the dog come and get him by Mercury. I love this centurion does not know. Doesn't seem to appreciate what he's up against.
What he's up against at all, is he?
Yeah.
So Asterix telling them off there, don't let us catch you doing it again.
Yeah.
So we think a mascot's a good idea, do we? So we're looking at our centurion with subtle irony, are we?
Right, off to patrol to the forest. That will teach quick march. He's sending him out on a patrol. Watch out. And then the next thing is the lucky mascot, run for your lives. Dogmatics is chasing you. See how much more self-confidence Dogmatics is since the Romans trusted him, Asterix.
I must admit,
for once, you're right.
That's cute. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like the Dogmatic stories.
Now I love this next little story.
This one is Latinamania.
This is such, and this is this translates so goddamn well. Because this is a play on essentially the bastardization of the French language, generally Franglaise, should we call it?
Yeah.
And there was obviously a creeping of a lot of, I mean, there was a creeping of a lot of, so we say, English words into the French language, which is kind of what this is about.
Yeah, far more than the other way around.
Yeah, but then you kind of see this. You kind of see it that you see like British people try and speak French, even if they know the words, they're bloody notoriously bad at it. Because it's like it's in a they can't. Like if they go and order, if they go and order a beer, if we go and order a beer in France, most of them, instead of saying "Je voudrais une bière, s'il vous plaît," will say "Je voudrais une bière, s'il vous plaît."
Yeah,
is how that
Je voudrais une bière, s'il vous plaît.
Yeah, they won't. It'll just. They won't even attempt to sound French.
Yeah, like I haven't spoken French in 10 years, and that just.
No, I'm very rusty on French.
Yeah, but it's kind of traditional. The standing joke is most Brits speak French with a Yorkshire accent.
It says here, back in the 60s, a number of English words invaded the French language. The result was known as Franglaise. But it was not the first time such a thing had happened in ancient Gaul. Back in the 60s, BC, of course. And I love this. Hey, you two. So we're getting a Latin thing here. Hey, you two, keep off of my geraniums. Oops, mea culpa.
Mea culpa, my fault.
You might pay a minimum of attention. A little more decorum, please, dear. And then there's no need to shout. This isn't a forum or an auditorium. Me shouting, it's you. Shut up. And that's an ultimatum.
Oh, we'll see about that. No, not the aquarium.
Not the aquarium. So he's got the fishbowl, not the aquarium. And I heard And I love this. Getafix coming. I heard all this. It's a crying shame speaking Latin. We must preserve the purity of our beautiful Gaulish language. Speaking Latin, us. That's right. Auditorium, ultimatum, aquarium. They're all Latin words. But what are we supposed to say instead, oh druid? Well,
performances, final demand allowed no argument, and glass container for freshwater or saltwater fish.
And then etc. The way you finish yourself. That was perfect.
Fantastic.
That was fucking
absolutely fantastic.
I think we've got a couple more to go through now. Yeah. And this is where I loved these. Now this is where it gets really into self-parody stage, yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I just want to look at this for a moment.
These said the authors take the stage. This is apparently said in 1962-63. These were written.
Yeah. So we've got the Obelix family tree.
Yeah.
First published in 15 issues of Pilot in number 172 to 186.
Yeah. And then we got the last one called The Birth of an Idea, which is the story after this.
Yeah.
This is the authors, Goscinny and Uderzo, are going to take center stage now themselves. Yeah. So we're seeing caricatures of Goscinny and Uderzo
coming up with the idea of Asterix and Obelix.
Yeah, and they're all, talking about their so you see them, and it's Goscinny.
Yeah, so we start off. They're taking a walk down a little harbour town in Brittany, northern France, and they spot a fella. What an amazing likeness! What a coincidence!
Yeah,
let's follow him.
Looks like a coincidence. Yeah. He's a spit of Obelix.
Yeah, and
I have to leave this one on the tide with this container. It's not my fault. And then we can look. I'll fix it for you. And he picks up this great big crate on his back.
Yeah.
Wants it on there. So in the hold, please. Did you see his strength? Doesn't it remind you of someone? I'm just wondering. Let's not lose sight of him. We're going to that cafe. The usual. Roast boar, please.
These two.
Yeah.
Tell us your name, sir. Obelix. Obelix. It's easier. These Parisians are crazy.
Yeah.
We know one of your ancestors very well. He's a friend of ours.
These Parisians are crazy, totally crazy.
So he's got an old document about his ancestors at home if you're interested. So of course they are.
Yeah, we are.
There you are. Oh my word.
So he takes them back, and we get this. So we got the tree here. So we've got Obelish, who's the current guy.
And then before that, Privateer Obelish the Fat.
Yeah. So we got basically both of them from St. Malo. Yeah. Obelish the Boar.
Who was the King's Corsair.
Yeah.
And then you've got Obelish, Count of Brittany, famous for winning the first battle of
1540, single-handed.
I told twice.
Obelish, Lord of the Mania. So the manner of men here. 1400 years war with his friend Bertrand de Guisson. Comment these English are crazy as attributed to him.
Yep. Then you've got Obelisk the Valiant, covered himself with glory during the Crusades.
Yeah.
And ate 14 balls in a sitting.
Yeah.
Then you've got Obelisk the Hammer.
Flattened every enemy he ever fought at Poitiers under Charles Martel. I'm guessing it's Charlemagne, isn't it? Oh no, it's Charles Martel. It's Charles Martel. Yeah. And at the bottom of them all, Obelix, Gaulish warrior, many delivery fan, founder of the dynasty,
holding up the entire tree.
Yeah.
Um.
So there we go. This is so we got Goscinny and Adeso. This is great. So we decided from Obelix. You're descended from Obelix the Many Delivery Man, Asterix's best friend. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You must come back to us, Leticia. No one would believe it. It means Paris. Paris?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll go get my things. And so they're going to take him back to Paris. And he's coming in. Where can I put my bits and bobs? On a luggage rack. And look at that. He's put on there. Yeah.
You said to put it there.
Yeah. Do you really think you should bring that menhir? Sure, my family, we never go away without a menhir. It's like a little lucky charm.
And then he's worrying about the insurance on his car.
Yeah.
There's a train coming. Porter. What's up, Horace? Anyone would think the devil were after you.
Yeah.
So
like, do you want to leave your luggage in the luggage car? No fear. Historical relics like this don't travel in luggage vans.
It takes up at least 2 seats, though. So just think, so they get put in the luggage van instead.
Yeah.
After they've arrived now in Paris, the taxis won't take us, Underground won't let us on, and the bus won't have us either. I don't like your anti-Mannerist prejudice in Paris.
Yeah.
Here we are, the offices of Pilot with
Obelix. And he comes in there. Oops, he's broken the window of the menhir already.
Yeah, not very strong your windows in Paris.
And I love this. They going in there. Look, everyone, look who's here. And my dear, it's everyone. Obelix. It's with an ACH.
Yeah,
anyone see my typewriter? And there's the menhir in the. And my dear Obelix, we'll show you around the offices. The offices of the pilot. Great. Does he take the menhir everywhere? Yes. And speaking of that, when you got ouch. Who's that? Just bang. Only the boss.
Whoops.
So it's it sounds like it's a little inside joke there. And that's the end of that one.
Yeah, a little bit of an inside joke going on there, but a bit of fun poked at the creators.
And we've got one more to go through, and this is just a page. So we're very nearly at the end.
Yeah.
It's called Birth of an Idea.
How did they think it all up?
Yeah.
How did you get the idea? They get asked. Yeah.
So they're sitting in a French cafe.
Yeah.
And they're thinking they've got to pick the thought bubble of Asterix, and then a couple of thought bubbles there, and then
idea.
He gets an idea.
Rhubarb, crash boom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ha ha ha! Bang bang! It's like see, and they're laughing, and you can just sort of this big bang, then paff, woohoo! Oh, biff, baff.
Then we have crack. Woo, boof.
Yeah.
Driven off in the ambulance.
Okay. The end.
The end.
That is the end of our book.
Yeah.
So let me get rid of. Do you want to let me get rid of that from the stream there, Noodle?
Yeah.
We're at the end of this. This has been. I don't know if this has been our longest stream yet on this, but this is because I think Asterix in Britain might be a little long. We might take a little, but this was really good. This was so different.
Yeah, it was. It was different, and it was nice just to have that quick fire, different stories going on. Some of them more in depth than others. A little bit something for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was nice.
I think it was a good idea to put a lot of the short stories together.
It's nice that they were all put together and put out there because they are, there's some nice stories in there. Like I said, I wouldn't want to do something like this every week, but it's a nice sort of, it's a change.
Yeah.
So it's lots of different ones. I did like the Olympic one, I've got to say. The Olympic one's the one that sticks out to me as this one was fun. Because it's something of everyone. I think everyone's seen their country at least want to make an Olympic bid. So it's just one of those things where it's it's a universal story, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. It is. It's yeah, because there's no real, like I said, this is different because there's no real thread in this one. This is all collection of short stories. I do love the fact that we got to see those pilot strips at the end, with especially with the Adezo and yeah. No, Asterix and the Normans had to be a two-parter actually. Ring that was because someone messed about with our stream. So
messing around with us, though, not
yeah.
because we would have overrun if we tried to do it in one go.
Ring, by the way, Ring, thank you, because I was going to touch on that. Ring's shared something in the chat, and I was about to touch on this before we go. Our friend Jen, that's Jen's Little Corner. People know from Australia. She's in the process of moving at the moment, and she kind of found out that it's going to take a little bit more than she was going to. She's going to need a little bit of help, so she needs a little bit of help with finances to, I think, help get removal men and stuff. It was something that wasn't being so Jen had to kind of be, now I will say Jen had to be a little bit talked into this herself of doing a fundraiser for this. Other people suggested doing this, but Jen has got a PayPal open. Nobody's under any obligation for anything. Okay, you know, if you can and you want to, please help out. But you know, no one's under any obligation. But I've got to plug that for Jen, because Jen's helped our chat. I mean, Jen's done the intros to my channel, including the ones that the one that Noodle and I have for the Asterix stream. She's done the intro for Ring's channel, so Jen's helped us out a lot. She helps a lot, so I'm only too happy to try and help that out. And
and Jen is she's a big part of the community as well.
She's
so
a big
I will
part of the community, but no one's under any obligation. And you know, and I know that without mentioning any names, but I know there's certain people who I'm not going to name in on this platform who seem to think that all fundraisers are fucking scams and that. They can fuck off if they got anything to say about this one. I'll say that now. So
the amount that does for this community, you know.
So you know, but again, it's there if you want to. It's there. No one's under any obligation. Right.
I'm just going to say, I know it's a very slight chance. Amiga has just shared a link to my Ko-fi in the chat as well. If you are thinking about donating to my Ko-fi this week, as much as I appreciate it, Jen's fundraisers there, I think. Direct it that way, because as I said, you know, Jen's so important to this community, and we do have to stick together. So definitely plugging that and supporting Jen there.
Okay, so obviously before we plug what was coming up in sort of 10 minutes or so, and so I'm definitely going to need to stretch my legs and go for a cigarette before we do that. But before we obviously go to One Ring 42's stream in a minute, for Deadpool 2, you got anything you want to plug, Noodle, coming up?
The only thing I've got coming up, as usual, I've got my gaming stream that was cancelled last week because but hopefully to pick it up tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, I usually do it about 8, 9 o'clock ish. Keep an eye out on Twitter. I'll let you know up front. It should be happening. All being well, I don't see why it wouldn't. So join me. I'm not the best at this game, but that's half the fun. You get to point and laugh at me struggling. And I encourage you to do so. And I do appreciate those who pop up in my chat during those streams and keep me company. I know Dog is a regular, a few others as well. So, yeah. I do appreciate everyone who shows up, and anyone else who fancies popping in, you're more than welcome.
Okay. Now, I may possibly have another Twitter related stream on Thursday. I've just got to find who is going to I've just got to find a suitable victim this week, because it's just that fits the kind of criteria of this person posts a lot of stupid, but it's also not like a small little tart, because I don't want to pick on someone who's not like a well-known public figure. But so I've done both Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, the LGB Alliance, Transform Wife, Sorbo, and Pastor Greg Locke so far. So we need to find another victim for that. If I can't find one in time, I might just have like an open hangout, or hang out and chill if anyone's about midweek or something. Definitely, I've got definitely. Hops might have an answer to this.
Oh,
Tucker Carlson. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll take a look. So possibly Tucker Carlson. I'll do that Thursday at 3:30 p.m. UK time, if I do that. So because I've kind of had it in that slot for a while. Other than that, I do have a Patreon. Link to that is in the description. And a special, it's been rolling across the screen, bottom of the screen, the whole thing. But thanks to all my patrons, Gary, PJ, Dog, Johnny the Apostate, and Ox. So thanks to the support you guys have given me. Right, coming up in a few minutes, luck isn't the superpower. Media Musings on Ring's channel. Myself and Noodle will be there.
Yep.
We did Deadpool last week, so it makes only sense we do Deadpool 2. So I think we're going to sign off.
Yeah.
Tagline, Noodle.
Take care, be good, and if you can't be good, use your noodle.
Okay, see you later. Salute.